Thank you for joining us for KREM News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Whitney is off this evening. The suspect accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students will soon be sent back to Idaho after he entered an extradition agreement in a Pennsylvania court earlier today. Tonight we are bringing you team coverage of these latest developments. Tonight our Shannon Mowdy breaks down what one prosecutor shared about prosecuting such a high-profile case like this one, while our Amanda Rowley is taking a look into the questions that we still have about this case. Plus, our Nicole Hernandez is explaining what we know about the white Hyundai Elantra tied to the suspect. But first, our Janelle Finch tracking the extradition process earlier today and shares what happened in the courtroom. Janelle?
Well, since Bryan Kohberger was identified as a suspect in the Moscow murder investigation, the world has been watching for his next move. Just hours ago, Bryan Kohberger, the man suspected of killing 4 University of Idaho students, made his first court appearance, where he waived his extradition hearing. Now begins the process of getting Kohberger back to Idaho. WNEP, our sister station in Pennsylvania, was in the courtroom where no cameras were allowed. They report every seat was full and Kohberger's family was in the front row. Kohberger spent less than 20 minutes in the courtroom where he waived his extradition hearing and verbally agreed to accept transport to Idaho. Following his first courtroom appearance, Pennsylvania State Police hosted a press conference to share more details on Kohberger's arrest Friday.
Tactical assets were then staged in the county, in Monroe County, into the evening of Thursday, December 29th, last Thursday. And in the early hours of Friday, December 30th, those warrants were executed at the location. Mr. Kohberger was taken into custody without incident. The scene was turned over to the FBI Evidence Response Team for processing. Mr. Kohberger was then turned over to the Monroe County Prison, where he has remained in their custody since.
Monroe County District Attorney's Office shared they believe Kohberger may have waived his extradition hearing to see what information police have that led to his arrest. Upon waiving his extradition, court order says he'll be in Idaho within the next 10 days. But as his Pennsylvania public defender told our sister station, Kohberger could be in Idaho as early as tonight or tomorrow. Following today's press conference, law enforcement say travel arrangements are being made. Moscow police say those details are being kept private for security reasons. While Kohberger is on his way to Idaho, Pennsylvania jurisdictions say this isn't the end of their involvement. The Monroe County District Attorney says its agencies are willing to continue to work with Idaho law enforcement in providing background on Kohberger's Pennsylvania activities before and after the murders on November 13th and in any other way they can. In the studio, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Janelle, thank you. New tonight, we have video connecting the Hyundai Elantra that Idaho police were looking for to the suspected murderer. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez has body camera footage from a traffic stop with the suspect and chilling new details about the car's history. Nicole?
So, Mark, you can see the trooper actually pull up and approach the car in this body camera footage. And for just a second, you actually see Bryan Kohberger in the car in the driver's seat. This is some of the video we have here. You can see this initial body camera footage was from his chest camera. We will get that pulled up here in a second, but we are keeping the other person in the car anonymous. Quickly, the officer leans down, blocking the view of Kohberger. But what is important to note is the date on this video in the top right corner. You can see that's from December 15th of this year. That is 8 days after the Moscow Police Department started asking the public for information about a white Hyundai Elantra. This new body camera footage is the second time law enforcement pulled over the suspected killer in the same day. Just minutes before, a deputy from Hancock County Sheriff's Department had stopped Kohberger and that passenger. In a statement from Indiana State Police, they say the trooper did not have information on Kohberger at the time or the license plate number of the car Idaho detectives were looking for. And we also have a second angle of the traffic stop. That's the one that we were just showing you. Initially, of course, this was the one we wanted to show you first off. Right there, you kind of see for a quick second Kohberger in the car there. The initial angle, though, did show us the license plate number, and I was able to use that license plate number to find the car's VIN in an online database. Then with that VIN number, I found the car's Carfax. That's what we're going to show you now. It shows actually recent owner, the most recent owner bought it in Pennsylvania in 2019, then registered the car in Pennsylvania in 2020. The owner re-registered and got the car serviced a few times over the course of the years, but then on November 18th, this right here is what's important, the owner re-registered the car in Pullman to get Washington plates. That happened on November 18th, just 5 days after Kohberger allegedly stabbed all 4 students. Now, we reached out to the Washington Department of Licensing to confirm Kohberger is the one who registered the car. We have not heard back at this point, but we do know he was the one driving the Elantra in that Indiana State Police body camera footage. In studio, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Nicole, thank you very much. And our commitment to bring you more to every story, KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy continues our team coverage tonight by digging deeper into a case of this magnitude. Shannon is live outside the federal courthouse in downtown Spokane tonight after learning more about the legal process. Shannon?
I sat down with the U.S. District Attorney for Washington's Eastern District just to talk generally about prosecuting a case like this one, such a high-profile and potentially complex case. She says large, complex cases can take years to prosecute because the investigating doesn't stop once an arrest is made. And prosecutors work with investigators from the outset, even long before a suspect is identified. Vanessa Waldriff says they treat every case, regardless of public attention, seriously.
High-profile cases often are in the news, and people really are passionate about wanting to know more information. But honestly, we take every case equally seriously, and we'll be running down evidence and making sure there's a thorough investigation and viable prosecution on any case that we want to move forward with. And for every victim, every case is a high-profile case.
Now, Waldriff says the cases take a long time to work through the legal system, not only because prosecutors and investigators are still working on making that strong case for the jury, but also for the defense to have time to go over the evidence and to protect the due process rights of the defendant. And again, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Live in Spokane, Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Shannon, thank you very much. The news that Kohberger will soon be back in Idaho comes as the community continues to remember the 4 University of Idaho students whose lives were lost. Those 4 students were 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, a freshman from Conway, Washington, 20-year-old triplet Xana Kernodle, a junior from Post Falls, Idaho, 21-year-old Madison Mogan, a senior from Coeur d'Alene. Xana and Madison worked together at a restaurant in downtown Moscow. And another victim, 21-year-old Kaylee Gonzalez, was a senior from Rathdrum, Idaho. She was a sorority member and had already lined up a job for after graduation. Well, here's what we know about the suspect, Brian Kohberger. Kohberger is a PhD candidate at Washington State University, and CBS News learned forensic analysis allegedly linked him to the crime scene at the King Road home in Moscow. He is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and felony burglary. Police are still not saying whether 4 students knew Kohberger. Pennsylvania State Police arrested Kohberger 2,500 miles from the Idaho crime scene. Troopers arrested him at his parents' house early Friday morning. And there are still a lot of questions surrounding this development in the latest development in the quadruple homicide investigation. We continue our team coverage with KREM 2's Amanda Rowley. She's joining us live in the newsroom tonight with what we are tracking right now. Amanda?
Yeah, Mark, it's now been 7 weeks since the 4 University of Idaho students were found stabbed to death in their Moscow home near the university campus. Now, with the arrest of a murder suspect, this brings up even more questions than there were before. So here are the top 10 big questions we are tracking right now. First of all, what's the motive behind the murder of these 4 students? What's the suspect's connection to those 4 students? Are police looking for additional suspects or accomplices? How many other DNA profiles were found in the house? And what are the tips or evidence that led police to the suspect? Where's the murder weapon? We know that it is a fixed blade, but where is it? When will the cleanup at the crime scene start? And details about the suspect's car, including will it be brought back to Moscow as part of that investigation? We do know it's being processed, but not if it will be brought here to Idaho. Now, what items belonging to the suspect did law enforcement seize? And when will the next Moscow Police Department press conference be held? These are just some of the most pressing questions surrounding this case, which is why we continue to call on Moscow PD to share the latest details. Now, just a couple hours ago, Moscow Police Department sent out a press release, but didn't really have any major major updates. Now, today we did learn the search warrant for Brian Koberger's student apartment is sealed. We obtained copies of the court order to seal it. That order says it was sealed partly because of a serious and imminent threat to the privacy of witnesses, victims, and the victims' families. Now, the search warrant will not be unsealed until March. We also know, based on the timeline released by Moscow Police Department, two of the students, Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonsalves, they went to the Corner Club, which is a bar in downtown Moscow, the night before their death. Now, there's been recent speculation that Koberger was at that same bar, but yesterday, the Corner Club tweeted this, quote, "Suspect was not and has not been here. No one was removed from the bar the evening of the incident. Stop calling us." Now, while numerous questions surrounding this case are still left unanswered, we remain diligent in tracking this information down. We do expect to learn some details once probable cause documents are filed in Latah County. Reporting in the newsroom, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. And this continues to be a developing story. We will bring you the very latest as we learn more. For all of our coverage in the meantime, you can just text us the word Idaho to 509-448-2000, and we'll send that information directly to your phone.